How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today I'm here to give you everything you need to know before moving to Aurora, Colorado, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Evertson. Listen, if you're interested in learning all the ins and outs, pros and cons to moving to or around Denver, Colorado, then this is a channel for you. So the subscribe button and notification icon on your screen, make sure you click on that as I'm dropping new videos for you each and every week. And listen, as much as I pretend to be a little entertaining here on camera, I'm also a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado and team with some of Denver's most talented realtors. So the number and email you see on your screen, know that I am always the person to answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. Now that we're done with that fun-filled stuff, let's get to what we're really here for, and that is everything you need to know before moving to Aurora, Colorado. All right, so good old Aurora, Colorado. If you look east of Denver, guaranteed the first thing you're going to see is Aurora. Why? Because geographically, and this is a scientific term, Aurora is huge. So Aurora is part of 3 different counties: Adams, Arapahoe, and Douglas County. And it stretches not just all of East Denver, but it stretches north of the city and south of the city. It is massive. So no surprise, Aurora is also the 3rd largest city, we use that term, 3rd largest city in Colorado. As of 2020, its population, the most recent census, was roughly 390,000. Now I'll tell you, as I mention often, Colorado is not a state of big cities. You've got Denver, you've got Colorado Springs, which is a little bigger, honestly, population-wise than Aurora. Then you've got Aurora, and then you've got a bunch of towns all sitting around 140, 150,000 people. So when we talk about Aurora being the 3rd largest, that 390,000 population, the size of Aurora means that you don't have a ton of density. You don't have skyscrapers filled with people. You've got a lot of different home styles, detached condos, townhomes, apartments, you name it, spread over a huge landmass. And Aurora has long been one of the more popular places for people moving around Denver or moving to Denver, and for several reasons. The first that I would mention is Aurora rates very highly in terms of diversity. It is one of the more diverse communities in the Denver metro area. As of the 2020 census, Aurora was made up 32% white, 29% Hispanic, 15% African American, and 9% Asian. And so among other things, it is a popular place for a lot of different people, a lot of different backgrounds to explore and to consider living. And Aurora has long been known as a more affordable location as far as Denver suburbs to look at. Now, we can't ignore the fact that the cost of living, cost of housing in Denver and the metro area has increased over the years. So to say that Aurora is cheaper than Denver is lazy at best. But there does tend to be a bit more affordability on the east side of town. Now we can talk national and we can talk local. From a national perspective, Aurora is roughly 4% more expensive than your national average. That is based on payscale.com. They're 8% higher for rent or for living expenses. Interestingly enough, they're 13% lower for utilities, and they're 8% lower for groceries. I also don't really know why I'm giving you different percentages by motioning to my fingers as though I'm counting. That really doesn't add up. It's 8%. And as far as when we're talking about home cost, and listen, I'll be fully transparent here. This is one of those things where I don't like getting into home price or rent averages because things change and every property is different. But just to give you some generalities, as I make this video in the middle of May, the median list price for a detached home in Aurora was $615,000. The median rent for a detached home in Aurora as of the making of this video was just a shade under $2,800. It was $2,795. Now, contrast that if you're looking for a condo, the median price, again, as of the making of this video for a condo was $365,000. And the median rent for a condo or apartment, a lot of this data, obviously gets mixed and mashed. The median for a apartment rental was $1,750. Does that mean you're gonna pay $2,800 to rent the house or $1,750 to rent a condo? No, I've seen people pay a lot more and a lot less. I've had renters near hospitals that are renting for $1,200. I've seen people in, really upstart, brand new neighborhoods paying well over $3,000. So just to give you some ballpark numbers to start with, that's what that's for. So along with affordability hopes, another thing that Aurora really has going for it is employment opportunities. And that's been going for quite some time, and it's only ramped up. What you're gonna find out in Aurora is some aerospace, technology, and the medical field is huge in Aurora. So you've got companies like Raytheon Technologies, you've got Buckley Air Force Base for my military folks out here. Sorry, I'm a Navy guy, so if you're Air Force. And then when we talk about medical, it doesn't get much bigger. So you have the Anschutz Medical Campus over there. You've got UC Health. You've got a VA, several VA hospitals, but you've got one of the biggest VA hospitals in the state, and they're all along the same corridor in Aurora, so a huge facility. And Anschutz isn't just there from an employment standpoint. We're gonna get to the fact that it's huge on the education side as well. So the development of that campus has had a major impact on employment opportunities, on the affordability in Aurora, because it raised property prices, no doubt. It's had a major impact on that city. Aurora also gets some pretty high marks when it comes to education. Aurora is going to be part of your Aurora Public Schools. It's also going to be part of the Cherry Creek School District, depending on what part of Aurora you are in. And anytime if you are looking into Denver and you're looking into school districts, and you're looking into the best or highest rated school districts, the Cherry Creek School District is going to be one of those names that you continue to hear pop up time and time again. And there are several areas within Aurora that are part of that school district. So you get that additional drive for people to want to live in that area for those schools. And I'll tell people this all the time. Even if you do not yourself have children that need to attend these schools, anytime, especially if you were thinking about buying a home, you want to at least keep school districts or school availability in mind, because that's going to impact your value now and in the future. And as I mentioned, Anschutz, so the University of Colorado at Anschutz is a wonderful school. You get a lot of people coming in for nursing, medicine, a ton of healthcare fields. I get calls all the time, and this is ramping up more and more, of future medical students in different fields, future nursing, what have you, calling me to talk specifically about going to the Anschutz campus and areas to live in around that community. So definitely a big driver for people moving to Aurora is that Anschutz campus. So within Aurora, you've got some really great communities to consider living in, and a wide variety. Again, we talk about the size of Aurora. So in terms of neighborhoods that people are going to explore, you've got neighborhoods like Aurora Hills, over to Heather Ridge. These are neighborhoods that are closer to Denver, closer to downtown. Heather Gardens, a great one. Dam East and Dam West. I love these communities for their tall brick walls that surround the communities. And within all of these, you're going to see a variety of home styles. Dam East, Dam West tend to be a lot of detached homes. You don't see a lot of townhomes, duplex, things of that nature. But all of these communities are going to give you a variety. Most of them built in the early to mid 1900s. So you will have some new construction there. You will have some remodeled homes, but you'll also get a lot of historical homes, old Victorians, places where the property lines are wider, you get a bigger yard, and some admittedly that are going to be tighter in these communities where they really wanted to fit in as much as they could. And then as you get farther southeast, you're going to run into Seven Hills. I actually own a property out in Seven Hills, great neighborhood to look at. Again, a lot of homes built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, a lot of detached homes, good size. You're talking homes that tend to have 4, 5 bedrooms, multiple floors, some tri-levels, things of that nature. And then An area that I've really grown fond of is as you move southeast in Aurora, you'll reach neighborhoods like Talon's Reach, South Shore, and Blackstone. So this is one of the key components of Aurora. So one of the key components of Aurora and of Southeast Aurora was the creation of Southlands Mall. So Southlands Mall, much like Belmar, kind of close to where I live, is an outdoor walking mall. All of your shops, all of your cafes, a handful of restaurants, mostly chain from what I've noticed, but an area where families, individuals, people can go to do a lot of different things. And they have within it a movie theater, they've got your fitness centers. It's kind of the one-stop shop for everything. During the winter, they'll break out the ice rink and have people out ice skating. They'll do some different summer festivals as well. So around Southlands Mall, then they built these communities. And that's where I mentioned Talon's Reach, South Shore, Blackstone. Talon's Reach, South Shore, newer construction homes. You're going to have townhomes, apartments, condos, and a lot of detached homes. A lot of different styles. And a very, very nice community. One of my favorite aspects specifically of South Shore is how close it is, visibly, how close it is to Aurora Reservoir, if I can get my mouth to work, which we will talk about. I had not seen Blackstone until probably 9 or 10 months ago. As I was making these videos, I went out to check out that community and talk to some people, and Blackstone is extremely impressive. As you pull into the community, you've got a big country club area, rec center for the community. Some of the houses out there are impressive is an understatement. So golf course right there, as you'd expect with a country club. What kind of country club doesn't have a golf course? So a lot to like about that area. And again, your affordability is going to change, right? Depending on different areas, you're going to pay a premium to live in certain areas. You're going to have a premium for certain amenities, but that affordability can change depending on these locations. And along with where you want to live, affordability, all that things, is the idea of recreation and what you're doing to get outside. So Aurora has plenty of parks to explore, plenty of outdoor activities. 2 locations, for the sake of time, that I would really point out is Cherry Creek Reservoir, which is right on the edge of Aurora, basically between Aurora and Denver. Great place to take boats out. They got a little beach area. You'll get some people fishing, I suppose. I don't know. My father will fish anywhere, but a great place, great park. And then you have Aurora Reservoir, which I mentioned is close to Southlands, close to the South Shore neighborhood, close to Talon's Reach. South Shore can see it, and I believe there are some trails where you can walk over to it. But if you're driving, you're actually about a 15-minute drive from South Shore just because of the way you have to wrap around. What do I love about Aurora Reservoir? You're not allowed to have motors on it. So you'll see a lot of people out kayaking. You'll see people paddleboarding. They have a beach, set up beach chairs where you can spend a day on the closest thing that Denver has to a beach. So just a great place to spend the day, peaceful, and you don't hear the throttle of someone running their boat all around. Skiing, if you're into skiing, you got to take it farther southwest and get over to Chatfield Reservoir. From a transportation standpoint, Aurora's got a lot of options there. There are certain areas of Aurora where you're going to have an easier access to our light rail system. And I've said this before, our light rail in Denver is extremely convenient depending on what part of town you are in. I know some people who rely on it heavily because they're close to a station or they're within 5 or 10 minutes of a station where they can drop their car off and grab the light rail. And I know some areas of Aurora where it's just not going to be feasible. You're 20 to 25 minutes away. RTD, our bus system has improved over the years, certainly an option there. And when it comes to transportation, one thing to keep in mind with Aurora is, again, the size of Aurora. There are these communities. If you're in a Heather Gardens, you're going to be able to get into Denver, as an example, in 15, 20 minutes, if not faster, depending on traffic. Whereas if you're in Talon's Reach, Blackstone, South Shore, at that point, if you're in the Southlands, there could be circumstances where your drive into Denver, as an example, is 40 to 45 minutes, if not longer, if traffic is a mess. And kind of tying into transportation and recreation, obviously you're living on the east side of Denver, the Rocky Mountains being to the west. Depending on where you're located in Aurora, your time to get up to the mountains, again, could be 30 minutes, could be an hour. The nice thing, again, geographically speaking, you're farthest away, right? If you're in South Shore, Towns Reach, you're in Southeast Aurora, but you're right off of E470, and E470 will quickly turn into C470 as you head west and get you into the mountains. So even though distance-wise you're ways out, you could realistically be into the mountains in, let's say, 40 minutes, maybe slightly faster than that, but I'd give it 40 minutes. So you could get to the Rocky Mountains in about the same amount of time it's going to take you to get downtown. You're not that far away, depending on that traffic. Traffic will get you sometimes. And it doesn't matter how many times I make this video, and it doesn't matter how much time I tell you it takes to go from one place to another. I always have at least one person comment with the most random, "Oh, it doesn't take me 40 minutes, it takes me 33 minutes and 22 seconds. Good for you, Speed Racer. Now, listen, the last thing I'm going to talk about, because Aurora has had this reputation for a long period of time, and that is crime. Now, growing up in Denver, Denver's literally split east to west. I-25 cuts through basically the heart of the city, and there are people like me who grew up on the west side of the city, close to the mountains, whatever. And our neighborhoods have our pros and cons too. Don't get me wrong. It's not like west side's better than east, any of that stuff. But Aurora always had this reputation for being a higher crime area. And being from Lakewood, I can relate to the fact that there are parts of Lakewood that statistically crimes are higher. You're going to see more assaults, more thefts, more things of that nature. It tends to follow your more densely populated areas. And Aurora is going to be the same way. What I will recommend to everyone is do your due diligence. The last thing I want to do is give you an indication that a place is safe if it's not, or unsafe if it's not. You want to do your due diligence, but understand that there are going to be pockets of Aurora that are going to be more susceptible to crime, higher statistically in crime than others. And this is where the comments are going to come in. Oh, what about this neighborhood? What about this neighborhood? And that's fair. There are parts of Aurora that if crime is a concern for you, you are going to want to avoid, just like if you move to Lakewood where I live. And I always say it because I find it most humorous, when it comes to statistics, one of the most dangerous, statistically, one of the most crime-ridden areas in all of Denver is Denver International Airport. Why? Because you've got a ton of people there, and there's crooks, I say. But overall, Aurora has been, is, and will be, that's great English, will continue to be one of the more popular areas for people to explore in all of Denver. You've got a lot going for it. You've got historical communities who have been around forever with a lot of culture, diversity, history. You've got newer areas, so new construction. You've got all types of variety of home. Aurora is one of those places where you could live in a house that's 100 plus years old, or you could live in a house that was built yesterday. You could live in a neighborhood where you're able to get downtown or to the mountains in 15, 20 minutes. 20 minutes is probably short for the mountains. Or you could be in a community where you might be 45 minutes plus away from any of that nonsense if it's not your thing, and everything in between. If you're big into outdoors, if you're big into community events, if you are big into staying local, Aurora gives you a bit of everything. And if I happen to lie and I haven't covered everything you need to know, that's a perfect reason for you to give me a call. So the number and email popping up on your screen, know that I'm always the person to answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everts. That was everything you need to know before moving to Aurora, Colorado. Until I see you next time,